Welcome. I'm John Strabley with Optumine. In the next few minutes, I'm going to tell you why attempting to calculate customer lifetime value is a fool's errand. But before I do, let me share a little bit about us. I'm a partner and chief strategist with Optumine. Along with my co founder, Roman Lenson, we launched Optumine in September of 2020. Our sole focus is helping our clients to harness the power of their customer data to grow their business. We do this through a number of strategic services and platform products. While Optumine is a relatively new company, stealing a phrase from the Farmers Insurance, we know a thing or two because we've seen a thing or two. Collectively, we have over 40 years of experience working with leading companies across multiple industry verticals. So let's talk about how customer lifetime value is calculated. At a high level, the LTV formula is an assessment of a customer's value over their lifespan. Let's break this down a bit further. When assessing a customer's value, the typical approach is to determine the average revenue per time period minus the average cost per time period. There are two key issues when using averages. First, there's no consideration taken to where a customer is in their life cycle, which can have a huge impact on their average value. Additionally, using a straight up average does not take into consideration how the customer's revenue and costs are trending over time. The other half of the equation, determining the customer's lifespan, is a combination of determining the full potential lifespan and then discounting it back based on expected customer retention. The main issue here is that there's an inverse relationship between the length of the lifespan and the confidence in the accuracy of the calculation. In other words, the further out you're projecting, the less likely the calculation will be accurate. As a result, the results can lead to misinterpretation. Let's consider some scenarios. In this first scenario, customers A and B have the same LTV, even though the majority of customer A's value is in the past, whereas the value of customer B is more in the future. From a strategic standpoint, I would want to treat these customers differently based on that fact. But with the LTV calculation, we have no visibility into that. Consider a third scenario of a newly acquired customer where the cost of acquiring them in the initial period is actually greater than the revenue generated. Using this average approach to LTV would likely result in projected negative value. But what if customer C actually had greater potential value than customer A and B? The LTV calculation provides no insight. It would actually lead me to believe I would be better off without this customer. So, a quick summary of the fundamental issues with the traditional LTV approach. An incorrect assessment of a customer's lifespan can have a huge impact on the LTV results. Equal weight given to past and future value can lead to misalignment of resources. Using historical averages does not take into consideration any customer trending, as well as where they are in their life cycle, which can have a tremendous impact on the LTV calculation. There's no concept of potential or incremental value a customer represents. Finally, this is a purely numbers-driven approach. What do you do if you're not able to track revenue and costs at an individual customer level? Given these flaws in the LTV calculation, we take a different approach. We calculate a customer's value across three different dimensions. First, the historical value, so looking at past contribution. Next, future expected value. So what do we expect from them the next 1-2 years max? And then we assess a relative potential value. So above and beyond what we expect in the future, is there incremental spend that we could capture in this customer? Is there incremental percent of their wallet that we potentially could capture? Then in terms of calculating customer value, we take an evolutionary approach and meet you where you are with your customer data. So if you're not able to ascribe cost and revenue directly to individual customers, we can utilize proxies, indicators of value. So whether it be demographic, firmagraphic, behavioral data, financial modeling. So if you are able to ascribe and track revenue and cost down to individual customers, we can develop financial models. And then there's statistical modeling. So building upon the financial models, but overlaying predictive models for everything from retention to upsell and cross-sell. Essentially, the methods deployed would be dependent on where your data is at. And then in parallel, we work with our clients to identify what gaps they have and develop a plan of action to start closing those gaps so they can continue to evolve their assessment of customer value. So, a quick summary of the fundamental issues with the traditional LTV approach. An incorrect assessment of a customer's lifespan can have a huge impact on the LTV results. Equal weight given to past and future value can lead to misalignment of resources. Using historical averages does not take into consideration any customer trending as well as where they are in their life cycle, which can have a tremendous impact on the LTV calculation. There's no concept of potential or incremental value a customer represents. Finally, this is a purely numbers driven approach. What do you do if you're not able to track revenue and costs at an individual customer level? I appreciate you taking time with us. We just scratched the surface on the topic of customer value. We'll be posting more videos related to this topic. Look in the description for links to additional videos. Subscribe, connect with us on LinkedIn, Twitter, Facebook to learn more about our point of view and the services and solutions we provide. Feel free to email me directly with specific questions you may have and or to set up time to discuss in person.